This is Everyday Grammar. I'm Kaveh.
And I'm Lucia. Here is a letter we got from a grammar fan. Dear Everyday Grammar, you should talk more about modals. You ought to know that certain modals are difficult for English learners to understand. So unless you want to lose a grammar fan, you had better start teaching more about modals.
Wow, that was a strongly worded letter. But the fan did bring up some important modals. Should, ought to, and had better.
Using the letter as an example, should was used to give a suggestion or friendly advice. You should talk more about modals.
Then you should play this game.
I think we should start with should.
You were not looking. You should be more careful.
Ought to is for giving advice. It has a similar meaning to should, but it's not used as often.
You ought to know that certain modals are difficult for English learners to understand.
Ought to does not have a question or past tense form in everyday American English.
You ought to buy the app right now.
Had better is stronger than should or ought to. It really means you should or else. Had better suggests that something bad will happen if you don't follow the advice. In other words, it's a threat. Unless you want to lose a grammar fan, you had better start teaching more about modals.
Yes, that does sound a bit harsh, but had better is not always impolite. It can express a sense of urgency. For example, you had better run. The plane is about to leave. Keep in mind that had better has no past tense or question form.
And that's Everyday Grammar.